unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
Popularity is weird. It's a thing I've wrestled with my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but probably from early high school on. Popularity, that which is popular. That's weird. I'm trying to think about the first time. I remember even as a kid, I didn't want to do what was popular. What everybody else was doing. What the populace was doing. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And that's been with me my whole life. The first real instance I can remember is probably around 8 years old, I think, when I was getting baptized as a Mormon. In the tabernacle, by the way. The Mormon tabernacle, if you've ever seen the Mormon tabernacle choir, you know that building downtown that looks like an egg? I was baptized in that building. Not many people can say that. That's right on Temple Square. That is dead center. That is the center of Mormonism. Funny thing is, as I was driving past there on my last visit to Utah with my dad, we talked about how weird it is that I was baptized there with 10 million or 11 million Mormons, however many there are. Not many can say they were baptized in the tabernacle, in the font in the basement. And then we were telling this story to my dad's best friend, Ron, and he said, I was baptized there. So maybe that was a more popular place to be baptized. But you're probably used to my tangents by now. On the day that I was baptized, I remember picking out my outfit. And I decided to go with a red shirt, blue pants, a white belt, and white shoes. Red, white, and blue. Popular color scheme. Come on, it's American. But I knew I wasn't supposed to. I knew you weren't supposed to be flashy. Conservative. You should dress more conservative. But I didn't want it. I wanted to wear flashy clothes. I wanted to stand out. So that's the first time I remember thinking, I want to do something different. I want to do something unexpected. Of course, I might have had thoughts before that, but I don't remember them. You're only bound to what you remember, right? You can only talk about what you can actually recall. So right now, I can't think of anything before that. And then, that was when I was 8. And then maybe a year or two after that, when are you in the 3rd grade? How old are you in the 3rd grade? I think it was right after that. That's when I decided I had to dress differently. Not just that, but so I thought I'll be different and I'll create a fad. So this is two levels of popularity, right? 1, I don't want to do what's popular, but 2, I want to create a fad. I want to create something that will become popular. So that's weird, right? 2 different things. I hate popularity, want to make something to become popular. So I started tucking. Well, what it was is I would ride my bike to school, and back in the day, if you had a chain guard on your bike, you were a fucking weirdo, Back in the days, we would say you were a fucking F word. The gay one. I can't say that because YouTube censors shits now. But, I could say it this way. I was a fucking faggot, or I would have been if I had my chain guard on. So you had to take your chain guard off, But, the problem is you'd take your chain guard off, and guess what? Flares, bell bottoms, and no chain guard. Not a good combination. Maybe that's why it was so cool, because it was so risky. So if you really wanted to, if you took your chain guard off, you're going to get your fucking bell-bottom pants caught in that chain every 10 pedals. What was the solution to that? Well, you swipe over your bell-bottom jeans and you tuck them into your white gym sock with the stripes on it. You know, and yellow and green stripes were my favorite. I had all kinds, but yellow and green for some reason were my favorite because I felt like they weren't the colors that were accepted. So I would tuck my pants into my sock, just like everybody else. I wasn't the only one doing this, of course. Other people did it too, because everybody had bell bottoms and everybody was taking off their chain guards, so everybody was getting their bell bottoms caught in these chains on their BMX bikes, or their Schwinn's, or mine was, I think, a cheaper brand, a Kmart brand, an off-brand, an embarrassing brand for poor kids. Whatever that was, whatever that bike was, you know. I tucked my pants in, but instead of taking it out after I got to school, I thought, oh no, I'm leaving it tucked in. Just the one leg. Yeah, just one leg. Check me out, walking around the school with my one leg tucked in. Did it make me any friends? No. Did it make me popular? Absolutely not. Did it make me the laughing stock? Yes, of course it did. People didn't like me back then. I was a skinny, red-headed, freckled kid. I don't think I got picked on very much. I think I mostly got ignored. I think people were mostly indifferent to my attempt at being a trendsetter. But I didn't stop. No, that morphed into, you had wristbands. That was also back when you'd wear wristbands, to make you look active. Most of them were red, white, and blue, and headbands, same thing, sweatbands. You've seen them in the Royal Tenenbaums. You know what I'm talking about. But I started wearing those on my ankle, too, on that one ankle. And by the time junior high rolled around, I stuck with this theme. I didn't do it every day, but I kept returning to it. By the time I got to junior high, I was no longer tucking things into my pants, but I morphed to wearing my wristwatch on my ankle. Yep, that's right. One of those little red digital ones that, you had to push to see the numbers. I wore that on my ankle. And I made sure to stop and check it probably every 10 steps. Thinking, check me out. I'm a weirdo. I'm checking my watch. It's on my wrist. I may as well be Mork from Ork. I think I was probably copying Mork. I thought I was being so different, but then I was, copying a dude on the most popular show at the time, Robin Williams. But yeah, it wasn't popular. But I thought that I would do it anyway, and suffer the consequences. Project myself out as a unique human. I ain't following your trends. Of course, I wore Pittsburgh Steelers shirt to school every day of my life, and that was the most popular team. But I wore it every day, and only me and my friend Andrew we were the two kids in junior high that wore our shirts every day. Top fans. So, a little bit of a dichotomy there. Don't want to be popular, wearing the most popular team thing. But yeah, I resisted popularity, and it got worse. Or I reacted against it. Was it resisted, or I used it as a pivot point, as a fulcrum or something? You find out what the masses are doing and resist it. I don't know why, but I didn't like it. I didn't want to be part of what was popular. Popularity bothered me. I didn't want to be like my brothers and sisters, so I was a little bit different from them, Maybe it's because I had, 10 brothers and sisters living in my house. You got to somehow eke out your existence some way, You got to stand out just to get a little bit of love and attention. Maybe it was that. Who knows? But I even remember the day I changed my hair from being parted in the middle, which was the popular way, to parting it on the side, which was the faggot way, the unpopular way, the unacceptable way. Was it 1977, 1978? Remember getting out of the shower on Concord Circle. It was probably the first time I ever took an adult shower, on my own. Maybe been 12, 13 at the most. I don't know. But I remember emerging from the shower, and I took a towel and I put it around my waist instead of putting it over my shoulders like a little kid. It was just a voluntary shower. This was probably the first voluntary shower on my own. It wasn't the Saturday shower before church the next day. It's my own shower. Got out, steam. Was in the bathroom. My steam that I created. Put the towel around my waist. Like a man. Little skinny 12-year-old, maybe 13-year-old man. I remember wiping the mirror, wiping a little circle in the mirror. I could see my manly face. And I went to comb my hair, my wet hair, because you got to slick it. You got to part it in the middle and slick it back when it's wet. That way it'll stay. But I remember that day I raised the comb over my head, lined it up dead center, and then had a revolutionary thought. No! I'm going to the side. I went to the side, swiped it over. That was it. It was a divorce. I divorced humanity. I divorced the masses. Combed it nice. Went to bed. Stayed really still so I wouldn't mess up my hairdo, because I wanted it to dry in that position. It had been drying in the middle position for a long time. It wanted to go back to the middle part desperately. Was used to that. So I slept very gingerly. I remember the adrenaline about walking to the bus stop. I mean, you couldn't just have, you don't understand, you couldn't just have a side part in whenever it was, 1977, 78, something like that. You couldn't. It wasn't allowed. So my adrenaline was pumping pretty hard when I went to the bus stop. Nobody fucked with me. I thought for sure somebody would fuck with me. Nobody fucked with me. I must have been exuding confidence. Went to school. My adrenaline was pumping, Might have even felt a little lightheaded. Could have been just the fact that maybe my follicles were in pain. I don't know. You don't know. But there I was. Went to school with my side part. Ready for a fight. Ready to be killed. Ready to die for my individuality. Nothing happened. Sorry. Wish I had a big ending to that story. Nothing happened. I don't even think anybody called me a faggot. Nobody really gave a shit about my side part. I think I went back to middle parts later because it was just too hard to maintain the side part. It's really hard. Once your hair is trained to go one way, it just wants to go that way. It doesn't want to fuck around with switching parts, So yeah. Popularity. Resisting it, but wanting to start a trend. What is that? Is it a leadership thing? Is it an attention thing? What did I need? What is my problem with popularity? What is it? I knew I wasn't popular. I never felt popular, even though in junior high, we're going to junior high on these stories. In junior high, I was good at drama, right? They had these little monologues you'd do. You'd have 3 minutes to present a skit in front of the class, right? And I was pretty good at it. I did some pretty funny skits. I could make people laugh. I was a little stand-up comedian. And I did that all through junior high. My drama teacher, Betty Davis was her name, actual name, not the Betty Davis. This was a bigger, rounder, lesbian Betty Davis. Pretty sure she was lesbian. Looking back. Big round lady with a bit of a mustache. She was a wonderful woman. She laughed at all my jokes and just loved me. Anyway, at the end of junior high, in 8th grade, they have these awards that they give for the most accomplished student in whatever subject was. And they just divided up. There's probably 8 subjects. English, math, science, sports. Drama was the one, right? I was up for the drama one with Ricky Peterson and Darwin Overson. Darwin Overson is my friend on Facebook, and I like him. We remained friends. We weren't best friends, but we remained friends through high school and everything. But we were all up for the drama award. It's a big deal. Most accomplished for those 3 grades. Oh, yeah. Good times. Anyway, I knew that those guys were both pretty good, but I was like, I know I got more laughs than they did, but those 2 were popular. They had the best hair. Ricky Peterson had permed hair, and he would let it grow out so the bottom would be curly and the top would be straight. I think Darwin had the same thing, and he and Ricky Peterson were like best friends, and they hung out with the more popular kids, whereas I hung out pretty much by myself with my nerdy friend Brent Bateman. You know, he and I hung out. I definitely did not have a group of friends, but those guys did. They were popular. But I remember when we were standing there and they were about ready to read the names, I thought I had it in the bag, but I could tell that Darwin, or maybe it was Ricky. Darwin, maybe you can correct me if you listen to this. But it was either Darwin or Ricky. They were so sure that when they read out the name, one of them stepped out as if they were winning it. Like they were so sure they were going to win that they stepped forward and then they had to step back. What an embarrassment that was, right? But I won it. I was in the because I made the school laugh the most, and maybe my teacher liked me the most. But I won. You know, I couldn't believe it. The whole school liked me. I was popular. But I also thought it was weird because I also felt completely alone and isolated in that moment because Ricky and Darwin weren't happy for me because they both wanted to win. You know, and their friends weren't really happy for me, and they had more friends than I did. Popularity. It was weird. A little taste of it there, you know, in front of the whole school. I won the award. It's like winning the Oscar. Eight Oscars, and I got one of them in 8th grade. But I still didn't feel popular. But then when when junior high or high school came around, this weird thing happened in 11th grade where I continued on with the drama stuff, and I realized that rather than getting beat up, I could tell jokes or dance and make the school give me a reprieve on the beatings. Not that I was beat up all the time, but you know what I mean? There was always this threat. Faggot. You know, so I realized being good at drawing, I got good at drawing. That gave some of the tough guys, I could draw them Iron Maiden pictures, and they would give me a reprieve from violence. But then the jokes in the assemblies, if I performed funny things, that was a reprieve, you know. But then all of a sudden it seemed like some girls started liking me, which was amazing to me. It was absolutely amazing to me that any girls liked me at all. So what's funny thing is about a year ago I got out my journal from around this time. My journal from like sophomore year, junior year in high school. How old are you in that? Like 15, 16, graduate when you're 17. So yeah, 15, 16. But I was in my journal going on and on about, I was kind of lying, not kind of, blatantly lying, but I was just in awe that I had options, that this girl I think likes me, this girl I think likes me, I can't believe it. A lot of it's written as a lie, as if I'm lying to the future generations. I'm overdoing it, you know, to try to pump up my 15-year-old profile, you know, so that my kids or my grandkids or my great-grandkids, when they read it, would go, man, he sure was great then. You know, no mention of the fears of being hated, not people not liking me. Only the good points, you know. I'm only putting forth the list of girls that I thought I had a chance with, that I thought liked me. It's really weird, man. If you go back and read your... I mean, it's weird because I believe in the straight up hard truth, the one that hurts, you know, I do. But I still would cringe and be embarrassed if somebody read my junior high school yearbook entries. Like I kind of when I saw them, I wanted to copy them and just put them out on the internet, just as an act of ridiculous self-sabotage courage, But I couldn't even do it. It's still just embarrassing. It's embarrassing shit, you know. The popularity. It was a popularity thing. But after that, I maybe it was. It could be. We're doing. You're just sitting in on my shrink sessions here. You know that, don't you? You're my shrink. So I'm just going to keep talking. So maybe that weird relationship with popularity. I became a new waver breakdancer. Definitely didn't want to fit in. Was wearing the homoest looking clothes in the world in a school where the 4-H club, the cowboy club, was the biggest. West Jordan, Utah. It was a farming community, So me and my small group of friends. There were probably about total. When it first started, when we were end of sophomore year, junior year, it was literally just 5 of us. Maybe 5 of us were new wavers that dared to part our hair on the side or do anything different, wear different clothes. By the time I was a senior, there was a little bit bigger group, but it still wasn't any bigger than maybe 20 people. And we were the leaders of it, and the other kids were younger, in grades smaller than ours. And it was constant battle with the F dudes, we called them, the fuck dudes, They always wanted to beat us up, and we're always threatening, except for the weird fact that a few of us became popular with their girlfriends, and that was confusing. Those were some violent times, or quasi-violent. When these guys who wanted to beat us up and call us faggots, preppy faggots all the time, their girlfriends wanted to sit by us after school and at the lunch. Weird, right? Little brush with popularity. Strange thing. Not wanting it, avoiding it, but then weirdly getting it because you avoided it. Don't blend in, don't be popular, and achieve popular status. And then there's a weird cycle that goes with that. And it's been a problem in my life. I've had numerous little possible careers. And I've noticed this about my dad, too. So this might be a genetic thing, but I got really popular for being an artist. Started winning awards. But then I got too popular, and I didn't like it, so I stopped. I said, I'm going to go do music instead. I was doing art with it as well, but then it was band. And then the band started getting popular, and we started having opportunities, that were touring with big popular bands and going on the road and having opportunities for record labels and stuff. It started getting popular, but I didn't like the way the dynamic was in the band, so I burned it. Flipped it upside down and burned it, I denied that it was my fault that the band broke up for many years, but it was. I did it. I'm the one that broke it up. I stopped doing it, and they stopped doing it. They could have continued on without me, but they didn't. I killed it. And I did that with another project. Started getting popular, killed it, set it on fire. Did that with my illustration. Moved to San Francisco. Started getting popular for my art, my paintings. Decided I didn't want to do that. Lit it on fire. Then I built this weird little, accidentally, to avoid the popularity, whatever else to do, I decided I'm going to do photography, and I'm going to Photoshop the fuck out of it, because you're not supposed to, Got really popular doing that. Had tens of millions of views on my Flickr account. Then Instagram came around, and I didn't like it, because suddenly these filters that I did normally, they made them automatic. And I didn't like the popularity, so I flipped that upside down and burned it again. It's just like anytime I've reached a point where, and even on the social scene, because of the photography, suddenly I was ushered to the front of the line, because I was with pretty girls, and they liked that. Weirdo guy, I'm dressing in unpopular ways, but getting popularity for not doing the popular thing, resisting the popularity, and then reaping the benefits of popularity somehow on the other end. What a strange relationship that is, right? It's a really weird one. But where other people always rode that wave, I've always resisted it because I'm uncomfortable with it. That's really what it is. I'm uncomfortable with it. Like, I was even uncomfortable when one of my favorite artists was Michael Jackson, because he was hugely popular. In my mind, I had to sort of convince myself that that I liked him most, But then again, look where that landed. Popularity is weird. He was arguably the most famous person of this millennium, more famous than Jesus worldwide. Popularity, look what happened. Who knows? I wasn't there. I don't know if he did anything to those kids or not. I have no idea, but look what happened regardless. Popularity. He did it his way. Look what happened. So I've always had this weird relationship with popularity. That which is popular bothers me. Legitimately bothers me. I'm uncomfortable with popular things. I don't like them. Once they become popular, they kind of wear off. And of course, Michael Jackson is that exception. There are those few exceptions, where something that is popular and it's actually really good. But regardless, even if it is good, the fact that it's popular can be annoying. And of course, this is the accusation that is heaped upon hipsters far and wide. You got to like the band that nobody else found, and you got to be the only one. As soon as everybody else knows who they are, you don't want to like them anymore. I did suffer from that in my life a little bit, and I don't know what it is. It's a weird relationship with popularity. It's probably rooted in wanting to stand out. But there just is another weird, ugly component with popularity. And I think it's just the doubt that I've always held about everything. When something gets very popular, there's debate kind of goes away. You just have to undeniably agree and get on board, And maybe that's what I don't like. Maybe it's that. Maybe I'm uncomfortable with the Jim Jones effect, the drinking the Kool-Aid. We talked about that with my friend John Hancock on another podcast. But some people like popular. They only want popular things. I knew a guy that lived by me, and he learned all the popular music on his player piano. He used his piano to teach him popular music. And I would try to drop in deep cuts and stuff, and he'd be like, no, if it's not popular, I don't want to know it. And I'd be like, you're weird, dude. I'm the opposite. But am I? I don't know. Popularity is a frightening thing, I think, because there's a lot of things that come with it. Popularity brings a lot of attention, a lot of scrutiny, which I don't mind. I like scrutiny. But it also brings a lot of general chit-chat, which I just can't stand. A lot of surface-level fandom. In driving around with my van and singing these songs, there have been people that have come up and said, oh, you just have to make videos of this. This will go viral. And I'm like, well, that's the last thing I want, really. Because then it's not fun. Right now, when I'm in my van off somewhere where nobody knows me, they go, who is this weird old fucker in a van with a hard hat on singing his heart out about sad music, And so they come around based on that. It's challenging to them. They're alone. And there's even a test of popularity even then in that environment. Like, if 3 people stop, then 5 people stop. If 5 people stop, then 20 people stop. It's easy once there's somebody stopping. But if a weird homeless dude stops, and nobody wants to stop because they don't want to be associated with that guy because he's not popular. But imagine if I was popular, then that doesn't even happen at all. You don't get the magic moment at all because there are certain people, in fact, I would say most people, that only like things that are endorsed by everybody else. In other words, they have to wait until everybody else likes it before they will sign on and go, I like it too. And that might be an honest impulse. It might be an honest thing. It might be literally in their bones that they can't have enjoyment unless it's part of the group. Maybe they just don't feel safe. And I'm the opposite. I don't feel enjoyment if the group's there. Like when I get the hairs standing up on the back of my neck when 10,000 people are singing the same song, that frightens me. I think this isn't good. This can't be good. This isn't good, you know. This is Nazi Germany. This is how people get tricked, you know. So I have to leave. I want to go to the small show again where nothing's popular. Find the undiscovered thing. Even in that way my house is decorated and the things that I collected over the years. It's like I just wait to find out what the trends aren't. Find something beautiful that is not trendy. Find the wonderful things that everybody are throwing away and get those. And then once those become popular, sell them. But enjoy the wonderful things when they're not popular. Because popularity has very little to do with quality. We know this. We all know this. There are so many wonderful quality things that never, ever get popular. In fact, most of the wonderful things in the world, most of the beautiful things are never celebrated as being popular. There's almost always a big machine behind that popularity. And I don't like the machine either. That's the other thing about, why did you burn your photography career? Why would you stop doing that? You were doing so well. I was, it's right. I was getting offers every day. It ended when I got a big Epic record deal, and I hated it. I hated working for it. I was doing an album cover for the guy who had the #1 record the previous year, and I just hated every minute of the job. And I'll save that story for another time. But I hated it, and that was part of why I've just tipped the table over, lit it on fire, and said, I don't want to do this anymore. Because you have to get on the phone with people who are lying to you. Because they equate your popularity with money, and they want money, so they'll say whatever they need to say to get money from you. And then there are people that want to attach their wagon to your star, and but they also want to steer it. They want to be part of it. They want to feel like they want to influence you. Even though you've done all the work without their influence, they want to be there and say they guided you. They want to manage you. Oh, it's just popularity. It's ugly. It's no fun. Anyway, I think I've found my way out of it, though. That's the good news. So far, having a podcast has made me less popular. And so maybe my whole life has been driving towards this point, you know. This is the answer. Being honest and saying and having and expressing unpopular opinions and unpopular views, maybe that will finally be. That's where it ends when you're 52, you know, and it's just like, no, we don't care. No longer will the unpopular view, you know, gain you popularity. And that might be good. I think that's good. You know, it's a strange thing. But yeah, so I think I've found the exception. And that is politics. Popular politics versus unpopular politics. I have unpopular politics in a city, and it has definitely, for sure, not earned me popularity. It's done everything but. So the whole all the experience I've had in my life that was like, and I'm just reminiscing on this and analyzing it from now. You know, I didn't know I was doing it then, but when you look back, you realize, I was doing the unpopular thing and getting popularity because of it. This is the exception. Unpopular political opinion in San Francisco does not equal popularity. And you know what? That's just fine. I'm fine just making these tapes as my own personal therapist. Free therapy from you, my dear stranger listener. That's all for now. Thanks for listening.